Hello and welcome to this next part in the video series for EZ104. In this video, we will discuss about Azure Storage Services. We will explore different topics about Azure Storage Services. So there are different topics to be covered. One is Azure Storage Services, different types of Azure Storage Services, different types of Azure account types, different types of replication strategies, accessing the storage, how we can access the storage, how we can secure the storage endpoints. Okay, so there are multiple topics to be covered. So Azure Storage Services, first one is Azure Blob Storage. It is also called Azure Container. So it is for unstructured data like text or image or video, and it is scalable and cost effective. So it is like similar to S3 or similar services from other providers. It allows us to store unstructured data, and it is very cost effective and allow us to store huge volume of data. Yeah. Next one is Azure table storage. So if we have like a no SQL key value kind of store, then we can use Azure table storage. So we can have a key, and then that key will have a value as a text or image or a video, or it can be anything. Okay. So this kind of key value kind of storage, it is good with Azure table storage, and it is ideal for fast structured non-relational data. Okay. Azure storage, queue storage. So if we want to have asynchronous message queuing between the application components, then we will have Azure queue storage, okay, which is used for having asynchronous message queuing in place. Okay. Azure file storage. So it is for managed file shares via SMB. So any Azure file storage will be like a similar to our network drive shares. Okay, it will allow us to have file shares, and we can use SMB protocol to access. Okay. So different account types we have for Azure storage services. One is standard general purpose V2, which supports for all the services of for the storage, and it is cost effective with tiered storage. So it will allow us for hot, cool, and archive um, access. Okay. So it is for standard general purpose V2. It is an account type. Premium block blobs. So this is SSD backed, optimized for high performance apps like real-time analytics. Okay. So when you have an account type as a premium block blobs, it will be useful for a high performance app. Okay. So when you have high performance app, look for premium block blobs. Premium file shares, it is for high throughput and low latency. So it is suitable for enterprise file workloads. Okay, so file shares having across the network, or we can use it from Azure, right? So it will be useful for high throughput and low latency. Premium page blobs, so designed for frequent read and write operations. So premium page blobs will be very useful for read and write operations. Okay, for when we where we want better IOPS. Okay. So there are different replication strategies for these storage services. So we can have LRS, which is for local redundant storage. It is a local replication within a single data center. And if we want a low cost, basic availability, then we can go with LRS. Okay. And if we want ZRS is like synchronous replication across three availability zones within a region. So it is like in within the same region, we can have different availability zones, and there will be synchronous replication of data across these zones. Okay, so it is for higher availability because the data gets stored in multiple zones. Okay. Next one is GRS. It is for like more redundant storage. You know, if we want it across the regions, then it will allow, this one will allow us for asynchronous replication to a secondary geographic region. It is suitable for disaster recovery. Okay, so it is for a secondary having secondary geographic region, and it will allow us to have one more region for our data storage. RAGRS is similar to GRS with the difference that it will allow us to have read access to secondary region, and it improves the availability for global applications. So if we want to improve the performance by allowing and if we have like read heavy applications, then we can go for RAGRS, where we will have read access to secondary regions. Okay, with in that case, most of the read requests will go to the secondary region. Okay. Next part is geo zone redundant storages. So now this one is like it is a combination of zonal and geographic redundancy. So it will allow for synchronous replication across zones in the primary region, but it will also allow us for asynchronous replication to a secondary region. Okay, so both the ways it will allow us to have replication of the data. Okay, so this is good for higher availability, highly for if whenever we want highly available applications with regional disaster protection. Okay, so then we can go with geo zone redundant storage. Next is read access geozone redundant storage. So it inherits geozone redundant storage capabilities with added read access to the secondary region. So whenever we want to have like uh, good read access to from a secondary region, and we also want high availability across multiple regions and within the zones, then we can go with RAGRS. Okay, it ensures better business continuity during primary region outages because it will allow us to have read access to on the secondary region. So it will allow the business continuity. Okay. Next part here it says about best suited for read heavy globally distributed applications. So for all most of the modern applications and microservices based applications which are distributed applications, we can have this RAGZRS, which will be more beneficial for these kind of applications. And this also provides resilience and performance at enterprise scale. Okay, so when we have across different regions, when we want to have better resiliency and we want to have better performance, then we can have this at enterprise scale. Now, once we know the redundant and replication strategy for the data for storage services, then we can also learn about, we should think about accessing the storage, right? Azure storage. So each object will have its unique URL based on account and the resource name. So the standard format is like account, service, and the core.windows net and the resource name. Okay, so for each service, each storage service, there will be a different standard format and it will be HTTPS based. Okay, so the custom domains can be configured for branding and simplified access. So apart from having a storage service name here, we can also have custom domain name if you want, but it will just require some configuration. Okay, so that is allowed for accessing the storage services. Yeah. And then access control can be implemented using RBAC, which is a resource-based access control, and Azure Active Directory. Okay, so we can have access control using that. And last part here talks about securing the storage endpoints. So the storage is private by default. Accessing requires authentication and authorization. So we want um, storage to be accessible, but it will require authentication and authorization. Okay. And we can also restrict access based on IP address and virtual network rules. So if we want some specific IP addresses or some specific virtual network um, to be accessing the storage service, then we can have that kind of configuration done so that the access is restricted based on IP addresses and virtual network rules. Okay. And the data in transit and the transfer of the data is over HTTPS. Okay, so it is a secure endpoint. Okay, and additionally, we can use Azure Defender for storage for advanced threat protection. Okay. So we can have a secure endpoint using all of these features. Okay. So these were the main points we should know about Azure storage services. Okay, and all the Azure storage services are very important. In conclusion, here I would like to mention is that Azure provides flexible, scalable, and secure storage solutions. So for different use cases, for enterprises or individuals, the Azure provides different storage solutions. So it can be used for different use cases. We should know how to choose the right storage type and the right replication strategy for redundancy of the data for the workloads that we have. Okay, yeah, and then we want to ensure the best practices in access and endpoint security for compliance and data protection. So once we know the storage type, once we know the redundant storage strategy, then we want to have a best practice so that we allow access in a controlled way with some guardrails. Okay, so this part is for that. And we also want to stay informed about enhancements in Azure storage for evolving business demands. So there are always some better versions of the storage service which will come from Azure, so we should keep a watch on that and we should um, be informed about those enhancements from Azure. Okay. So yeah, these are all the main points we should know about Azure storage services. Thank you.